Greetings, cohort. I hope while you're seeing this, you are having a fantastic day or night. I look forward to starting this third class with each of you. So, again, my name is Travis Liggins, and I serve as the Student Integrity Coordinator at Georgia Institute of Technology, also known as Georgia Tech. In my role, I adjudicate academic and non-academic conduct cases around topics such as plagiarism and underage drinking, and I investigate cases around hazing and harassment and more. I also advise our student hearing panel here as well for the undergraduate population student uh, area. So just a little bit about me. I'm married to my lovely wife. You probably can see a picture in the back. And two lovely girls. They are 7 and 1 years old. My wife actually worked at Georgia Tech as well. We've both been working here where I've been working at Georgia Tech for, I guess, almost 7 years, and she's been working here for about 4 years. In my free time, I enjoy playing and watching sports, especially basketball, football, and track and field. For I played all of those growing up, as well as watching a good movie, a TV show on Netflix or somewhere else. I'm a big Marvel fan, as I think I said a few times before. So I'm looking forward to the new Black Panther 2 movie that's coming out next month. I also love traveling and spending time with my wife and girls. I guess you would say one interesting fact about me is I've traveled to over 15 countries so far, mainly through Europe and islands, but would love to travel to different parts of Africa, especially like South Africa and even Asia one day. So I wanted to describe 3 issues I believe my organization is facing, and I'll try to be really brief. One is to provide additional support for students of color. Now, Georgia Tech does a lot, I would say, for the students of color, but I just thought it was interesting when I first got here at Georgia Tech after my experiences at other institutions I worked at, as well as the institution I went to in undergrad, which was the University of Tennessee in Ohio State, or the Ohio State, where we had a lot of support for the students of color in reference to multicultural centers and Black cultural centers. And surprisingly, when I first started here, I was like, oh, we do not have one. We have something that's called OMED, which is the Office of Minority Education and Development, but nothing specific for like multicultural center and Black cultural centers, as many of you probably know from what I've talked about during my time in other classes of like potential research topics, is like looking at support for students of color and the differences of students of color at PWIs, predominantly white institutions, compared to HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. But with our new president and some of the initiatives that we have in place, I see a lot of changes in these areas, so I'm looking forward to those. Another thing I wanted to mention is accessibility around campus residence halls. As some of you have may know, I used to work as a residence hall director at Georgia Tech. And one of the things that I noticed that about our institution is almost all of the traditional residence halls do not have any elevators. So there's nothing but steps. And so for anybody that would get injured, that may live on the 3rd floor of a particular residence hall, we would have to actually move them to a whole nother residence hall. Because of I guess the uniqueness of those residence halls and how it was built and how they don't want to mess with the construction of it. I thought it was interesting that we still, in 2022 have numerous buildings with a lack of accessibility. And now with having recent surgery on my leg and having to get out, it was difficult for me to navigate around the campus climate, realizing that it's not really set for people that may be in wheelchairs or on crutches and things like that. there has been some improvements in this area, but there's still some lack. The last thing I wanted to mention is, like I mentioned, I have a 1-year-old, and one of the things that we went through is like looking at maternity leave and things like that. I think it's interesting that a lot of colleges and universities don't provide maternity leave. I know ours don't specifically. And with our case, we had a situation where my wife was in the hospital for a month on bed rest because of her situation that she was in. She was a forget the word I'm looking for, high risk. And so having to be out for a whole month. And then when our daughter was born, our daughter was in the hospital for an additional month. That's 8 weeks of care and time that we needed to have off, and then weeks when we actually were able to bring our daughter home that we had to take in consideration of FMLA. And the way that it works here, from what my knowledge is, FMLA, you have to share with your spouse. And so we got in a situation where we had to share 12 weeks of our time through FMLA with each other. And so she automatically had to take about 8 or so weeks, leaving me with about 2 or so weeks, which I thought is kind of unfair. And she had to use all of her sick leave and also her annual leave, where I also had to use my sick leave. And it's interesting because I know a lot of corporations that provide maternity leave, but you would think at a university, at least like ours, that would be something that's provided. So I thought that was interesting. Really looking forward to finding out and learning more about things that we'll learn about in this class. And I hope y'all have a great one.